So hey friends, this is Mike Mitchell. I'm back again with my third installment of The Vision Driven Leader by Michael Hyatt. And I'm working my way through the book. It's got everything else that I'm doing. I'm making progress on my job. I'm taking a class online on marketing. 3-day challenge and a whole lot of work in 3 days. And so, but I still found time to read. You need to carve time out of your day to maintain self-development. Like I say, I'm taking a class, I'm doing reading, take time to spend with my wife, but I wanted to go through chapter 3. Now he calls it question 3. You know, what do you want? And that's what he's working his way through, a series of questions on becoming a vision-driven leader. This is in the section called Drafting Your Vision Script, but talks about the difference between a vision and a mission. You see, he tells the story that he was second in command at a division of a publishing company. And all of a sudden, the leader leaves. Suddenly, he's in charge. And he got to see the books and got to see the records and understood why the leader left in a hurry. It was a mess. Of all of the various imprints, divisions of this company, his was last in profit. In fact, they were losing money. And they were losing money on most of the books they printed in a year. There were a few that were making money, but the people were just stretched thin, trying to do everything, and no one could do everything right. And so even those few good sellers weren't enough to overcome all of the losses. So he sat down and did some analysis. He said, asked himself 4 questions. Who are we? Who do we serve? What problem do we solve? And what transformation do we deliver? Now, if you're in business, you're supposed to solve a problem. You add value to the marketplace by solving a problem for the marketplace. You have a set of customers, and that's who are we, who do we serve, and what problem do we fix? And he added the 4th, what transformation? I mean, they are the information services company. They are a book publisher. And they did self-help books and Christian studies. But they expected that people will read the book and have an impact. So he talked about looked at that and tried to create a mission statement and a vision statement. He said that these two are different. They're very similar, but different in a key way. Mission brings day-to-day clarity. This is page 61. I'm sorry, I got a little piece of food stuck right there. I bet I'm out of water. It said, so a mission provides day-to-day clarity by defining the identity and scope of the business. Day-to-day. The mission, it identifies the scope of what you do. We are in business to do this. It's something that you can define in a bumper sticker. Short phrase. Can you define your business in 5 words? For Harwin House, my job is we help businesses do business better. That's more of a vision. That's the direction. The mission is more of, what am I doing Sorry. Sure hope there's water in. It's empty. And there's nothing here. Okay, so we'll get back to this. I'm sorry. You know this is live now. A cough drop, see what that's going to do. So, the vision or the mission. In military terms, they go off to do a mission. They're doing one specific thing out there and back. The mission is to go accomplish a task and come home safely. And so, who are we? Which unit is going? They're going to do a specific task against a specific enemy to create an effect. We're not going to get into effects-based operations, but you don't always need to attack the target that you're attacking. You may want to just blow up the bridge that they have to cross, and because they can't cross the bridge, the supplies can't get to the front, and without supplies, there's not enough ammunition to inflict damage. That's creating an effect. And so your mission may be to create a transformation in a different way than the way most people do it. The vision is the out there direction. Mission is right now, vision is future. The vision I have for this city is to transform the city one neighborhood at a time, to create a village inside the city with everything that people need to function, and then create another one, and then create another one and fill it in. And by doing that, I transform this city from a Rust Belt wasteland into a place that people want to come and live because of the variety of housing stock and all of the opportunities and services that are available within a very short distance. So that is the difference between a vision and a mission. And then it said you've got to look at both of those in terms of your team. It said you've got 4 areas of business. The team, the people that are doing it, the products that you make, sell. This could be a service that you do, but your product, your sales and marketing strategy and approach, and then the impact that you do. Again, that's his 4 questions. So who are we? What is our team? What is the mission of my team? What is the impact of my product? And then you look at the vision, say 3 years. What do I want my team to be like in 3 years? And that may mean I need to add more people to the team. It may mean I need to add more skills to the people I've got. I may need to refocus their activities away from non-productive activities and toward those high-value activities. I may need to shuck some of the products out of my business and instead focus on what we do best. I mean, that's my problem. I've got so many things going on. What do I do best? And I might need to focus in on that. I'm trying to pivot from 1 to 2, but the trick is to go to 1 extra and not 5 extra. And then focus on what is the future of our marketing. Has the market changed? And absolutely, especially in the past couple of months, the market has changed dramatically. And the way people consume information, it has changed dramatically. But if your vision is still, if your mission and vision on your marketing strategy has not changed, you're not going to do as well in the coming year. So not just the coming year, but where are you going to be in 3 years? And what do you need to do now to adjust that? You may need to learn how to do video more effectively. You may need to learn how to take your old style brick and mortar business online in strategic ways. Learned about that last week. I'm going to go over that session tomorrow with my North Maine Business Association. So there are ways to do your marketing differently. And then what kind of transformation do I want to have happen between now and then? He talks about how do we need to change? Here's the phrase: how to become a company that would put this company out of business. The best way to grow your business and fend off your competitors is to become your own competitor. To adopt the attitude, the mission, and the vision of the kind of company that could leave you in the dust. And then become that kind of a company. You don't need to, we've talked about churches. I've done some study of how do you turn around a church. And one of the ways is that you can't, sometimes the church just isn't willing to change, but they're dying off. I mean, when your average age of your congregation is 70, when you've got almost nobody under 50, and yes, I've been to churches like that, went to one recently, and there was no one there under 60. That church has issues. And the way to not shut it down, as most do, is to basically create a new church inside the church that exists. It has some of the same people. It has some of the same structures, but it does things a little differently. It serves a different audience, a different customer, with a slightly different packaging of the product. The product is going to stay the same, but some of the other products might get discarded. Maybe you don't need the WMU anymore. You don't need sunbeams anymore. Maybe you don't speak heresy, but maybe you don't need a choir. Maybe you don't need a worship band at all. Maybe just pop in a CD. I was in a congregation that had a worship leader, but we did it by CD. All of the music was by CD. And that was enough. We were a small congregation, 12 people. When I left, we were up to about 40. And that was enough. And they were still doing most of the music by recorded music. We bought our license to do it. And so you may need to change the structure of some of your programs so that you can focus in on one or two things that you do extremely well. And that may be solid Bible teaching that's relevant to a specific age group. You may want to focus on young families. That's the most beneficial age group for a church, is young families and fathers within young families. When you do that, you will grow a church. Focusing on children is good, but you don't have a whole lot of support structure. Focusing on the seniors is necessary, but there's not a whole lot of growth there. And so focus in on what really matters and leave behind the things that really don't add to the mission. That's why you have to get into the mission. Coming back to the book, Vision Driven Leader, he did a retreat where he did the SWOT analysis. You know SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and tasks. And so threats, not tasks, threats. So what were their strengths? What do they bring to the market? What do they want to keep? What are the weaknesses? The things that either need to be discarded or built up? What are the opportunities in front of them? And what are the threats? And until you can get away, and usually you have to get away. And I've been in some of these kinds of retreats where we step back and look deep at our documentation. I mean, got to look at my whiteboard where I've got written the method that Sam Walton did when he first started Walmart. He would measure everything. On every Friday, their work week is Saturday to Friday. And every Friday the books closed. And on Saturday morning, he gathered his managers and they talked through the week that they had just finished. Now, each manager basically closes the books every night and reviews with his assistant managers every morning. But then he's got to go to the market manager and explain what he did during the week and why the sales were up or down or what needs to be adjusted. And the only way you can do that is to measure what you've got. I've got a file that I do for my cubicle job that is metrics that matter. They were given some crazy stuff that really didn't matter to what we were doing. We're putting parts on airplanes. And what mattered was how much time we were taking that airplane out of service to do the upgrade. So time in status, or time out of service. How many we had planned to do in a month versus how many we actually got done. I'm planning 6 a month and we're doing 4. I'm getting behind, I'm falling behind. And so I measure that. And then how am I going to catch up? Because I have a hard deadline. We've got some government mandates that we have to accomplish by a certain date. And if I fall too far behind, I'm not going to make it. I may have to take some of those planes out of service because they don't meet the mandate. So I have to measure that and put it up every month. And it shows up every month because we measure and we look at what our opportunities are. Where it used to take 27 days is now taking more like 15. They've gained some efficiencies. Now, if it's now 15, maybe I can push more aircraft faster and maybe I can catch up. What can I learn from the first location and transplant it to the second location? That's an opportunity. But you may need to step back and measure the hard numbers, the objective, the process analysis. You have to measure often, measure regularly, keep careful records. A lot of times I will start keeping records of data, not knowing what I'm going to do with it. And that's what I did with this lesson. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the information, but I started collecting. It was in front of me. I'm going to write it down. And after a month or so, or actually it took about 2 or 3 months, I started seeing patterns and trends just by staring at the data. You see, being realistic is an obstacle to progress. You need to work at doing better. Progress comes from having a vision of where you want to be, understanding what your mission is and what resources you've got, your people and your products, your marketing, and the idea of what transformation you're going to bring. And when you do that, You have the opportunity to become who your company really wants to be, or maybe you do it for yourself. You become who you want to be, not who you have been in the past. Like I say, Michael Hyatt has written this book, and it's applicable to a variety of types of businesses, even churches, even individuals. And we talked before about the difference between a leader and a manager. The manager manages the day-to-day, the mundane. The leader presents a vision. And sometimes you just get to get away from your current situation. Stop everything. Take a sabbatical, basically a one-day sabbatical away from everything that you're doing, and just sit and think and pray and dream and say, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? However long that is. My dad can't preach anymore, can't teach anymore, but he's still writing. So he's starting to write another book because he is a writer and wants to leave a legacy. And his books tend to have some family history in it, and that's part of why he's doing it. He can't say it out loud, but he does it. He's passing on family history and passing on learning to others through his writing. So he still has years left in him. He's going to make sure that he creates a transformation for others by what he does now. So what are you going to do? That's the message for tonight. This is Mike Mitchell. Thank you for watching. I bid you peace and blessing. I'm going to bed. Good night.